Chapter 15. The violent tearing of space-time didn't register as a sound or a physical jolt. It registered as an absence. A sudden, profound silence dropped over Arthur's mind like a heavy lead blanket, smothering the lingering adrenaline and the cold terror of the subterranean bunker. The swirling, three-dimensional holographic geography of the control panel simply dissolved, replaced by a soft, bioluminescent green-blue hue. The light pulsed gently, a rhythmic, breathing luminescence that trailed back down the transparent glass tube corridor he had just walked through. Arthur felt an overwhelming, narcotic calm. The peaceful feeling wasn't just in his head, it seemed to extend outward, saturating the very air inside the vessel. He unpeeled himself from the dark, petrified ash seat. It felt as though he had only just sat down. Yet the subtle shift in the ship's internal gravity suggested the impossible journey of 238,000 miles was already over. He turned and walked back toward the exit. The spun glass walls of the corridor no longer reflected the frantic, terrified ghosts of his own face. They reflected a man walking with the slow, purposeful gait of a sleepwalker. He reached the shimmering, phase-shifted threshold. The viscous aluminate parted like a silver waterfall, and Arthur stepped out of the sport model. He didn't step out into the freezing, irradiated vacuum of the Delboard crater. The sport model had materialized perfectly within the deep maintenance bays of the Atlas artifact. But the word bay was a tragic, sterile human term for what lay before him. The first thing that hit him wasn't the bone-crushing chill of space, but the air. It was thick, sweet, and hyper-oxygenated, hitting the back of his throat like the shot of pure adrenaline. It smelled of wet loam, crushed leaves, and the electric ozone of a summer thunderstorm. The atmosphere was perfectly calibrated to Earth's own, if not richer, sustained by an impossible ecosystem thriving in the belly of the ancient machine. Arthur walked forward, his rubber-soled shoes leaving the metal ramp of the sport model and sinking into the thick, spongy carpet of the luminous green moss. It was a primordial cathedral, enormous botanical structures, towering flora that looked like a majestic, terrifying cross between Californian redwoods and ancient fractal ferns, spiraled hundreds of feet into the air. Their massive, dark wood trunks were wider than passenger jets, reaching upward toward a staggering vaulted ceiling. And the ceiling wasn't dark. It was a simulated, brilliant cerulean sky. Golden, warm sunshine was flowing through the massive fronds, cascading from a gigantic, multifaceted crystal dome that comprised the entire forward section of the ancient vessel. The light caught the dust motes in the air, turning them into floating sparks of gold. Arthur stood in the middle of a billion-year-old indoor jungle on the dark side of the moon, a tiny figure dripping with sticky botanical oil and wearing a cheap polyblend shirt and a lab coat. A NASA engineer would have been paralyzed by the sheer impossibility of it. A military general would have screamed for a reconnaissance drone. The boffins back at Sector 4 would have spent billions engineering a pressurized suit just to look at the door. But as Arthur stepped fully into the vast, sunlit unknown of the alien terrarium, it did not even occur to him to be concerned about spacesuits or helmets. The ship had told him he was the passenger. It had told him he was home. And as the warm, simulated sun hit his face, Arthur believed it. End of Part 1.